What's up, guys? I'm Ken with the Shop Mini RC. Welcome back. Today we are looking at putting a new servo in our, this was a parts bin build actually, so just a bunch of extra parts that we had when we did this build originally, and we've just slowly decided to go ahead and upgrade things on it as we get them or have extra parts that are better than what's on here. One of the things that we did get, though, that is not really an extra part per se, that we wanted to totally check out, is this guy, the new servo. So the servo that was on here, these are like $3 servos, and they work for a little bit. They just don't have enough power, and they will strip out. And again, we got them to test. We got like 10 of them for 30 bucks or maybe even 25 bucks. I don't remember. And we've used them in a bunch of stuff. We've given them out to people when somebody burns up a servo. We're just like, here, throw the servo in there real quick, and they work. They just don't last forever, and they do not have the power of aftermarket of, the better servos. So this servo here, let's go open it. So this guy here is the OGRC, and it's all metal servo, and I believe it's pretty much the exact same as the Reefs 99 and the AGF-RC. Now we can go ahead and show you all the stats here. I'll put the stats up right here. You can see all of the info on it, and it appears to be the same. So this guy you can find on Amazon. They've got it on Prime for anybody in the US, and it's $39.99. Which, if this is the same as the Reefs 99 or the AFGRC version, that's a good price for a servo that's going to perform really well. If you haven't used an upgraded servo like this, even the NSDRC servo, we highly recommend you pick up a higher end servo, not an Emax or any of those $15 to $20 servos, but pick up something like this, and you will see a huge difference in how your crawl sessions go. They're just having that extra torque and the operation speed is huge. It's such a difference in the experience. This guy also goes up to 8.4 volts, so you can do that if you'd like and get all the power out of it. And yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and install this guy into here, and yeah, that's the task for today. One of the downsides of working on this these closed chassis is it's kind of hard to get in there sometimes, especially if you've got like window nets in and stuff like that. And sometimes you just can't got to use pliers and tweezers to try to work in there. It's almost like a ship in a bottle. But we love this chassis. It's super fun. It handles really well. It's just always been a blast to use. So this is a well-deserving upgrade for this guy. Yeah, this is these guys. You've probably seen them around. We'll put a link to these in the description too, I guess. But really, just get one of these. Just get one of these guys. They're the quality is just second to none, right? It's aluminum casing, all metal gears. These, I believe, have plastic in. One of the gears is plastic. It's not good. One of the things we like to do is, if we're not going to actually resolder or put on new pins, we will twist these. You just want to be careful not to twist them too hard on the ends where they connect, or on the ends here. But we'll get these twisted, and that kind of shortens them up. You can see we did it on that one. So it looks like we are going to have to put in a new servo tray, because we're just using the stock servo tray here. And you can see that we're going to end up hitting the links in the back. Can't put it back far enough without hitting links. So we think we're going to use a new servo tray here. And we could do it like that, but it hits on the links basically. You're just like right on the links. And we've got a good upgrade for that. And that's this. This is also OGRC. And this looks familiar, but it works. One thing I wish they would do is slot this here instead of having holes. Just put a slot that way, and then the back is milled here as well, but have that slot milled in the back as well, and then you can just slide it and adjust the servo mounting point wherever you want versus having specific ones. I can just slide it and fine-tune adjust it, That would be super nice. So we're going to get this guy together, and we're going to throw it on there, and we'll get our servo in. All right, we're going to weigh this guy. Man, we need a better scale that you can actually see. So this is brass. They also make an aluminum one. The brass comes in at 13.1 grams, which is pretty good. The aluminum one, we've already got it on this little guy here that we're doing something with. But the aluminum one comes in at just about 6 grams, 5.5, 6 grams. So this is more than double that, which is nice. Guess while we're at it, if you're curious, the servo is right at 20 grams, it looks like. If I could get the cable to stay. But yeah, it's basically 20 grams, 19, 20. So we've got the servo all mounted on our new servo tray. And one of the awesome things about these adjustable servo trays is that you can widen and narrow based on which direction you put the little ears, and then obviously move it forward and backwards and whatnot. So having an adjustable servo tray is a huge asset when you're trying different servos and whatnot, especially if you're trying to put a larger servo in. Also, the mounting point for your links is threaded on both sides. Some servo mounts aren't, but this one it is, and that'll allow you to do 4 links, no issue. So we can put our 4 link straight into the servo mount. Cool, cool. All right, we're all together now. Just FYI, this servo does use a 25T, so just be aware when you're looking for servo horns, because it comes with the plastic white servo horn, so we're going to have to be part of the white servo horn club. One of the things that kind of is not ideal is that this servo horn, for some reason, has larger holes than the other servo horns. So your M1.4 just pushes right through. So you'll have to use a nut on the other side, or what we're going to end up doing, since we can't use the servo horn that was on our little cheapy servo because this is a different spline, we're going to take this guy, because these have smaller holes and your screw will hold in there, and we're going to just cut it down and get the servo to work anyway. Plus, we don't need this large of a servo horn for these little guys. You usually just want the shortest possible servo horn that keeps your drag link here, your steering link, parallel. You don't want your steering link all up like that. You want it as parallel as possible for your steering geometry. If you do end up with your steering link kind of like that, you're losing your ideal geometry, and it's going to hurt your power or your torque, and even your distance, right? Your steering radius will suffer. So you want it as parallel as possible. So we're just going to go ahead and trim this out here. You could use this one too if you wanted. We just typically find that these end up being useful for other stuff later, so we'll use this guy. Trim it down. So we are going to end up using this hole here, not the bottommost, because then it rubs too much on the other steering link. So we're going to go ahead and trim this off. Also, these on the back, they're kind of got this extra thick part, which is kind of cool. But we're just going to trim this. And bam. Now, one thing you're going to want to make sure of when you're installing a new servo is that you power everything on and you set all your trims to 0, right? That way you know exactly where center is on your servo, and then go ahead and hook your servo horn up. I'm going to be as straight as possible, and then you can put your servo horn on. Sometimes, depending on the spline, it doesn't matter. You're going to end up being off a little bit one way or the other. And that's what you use trim for. So either way, we're going to be off. So we'll just do it on the side that has the least, and then we can trim it straight, right? Alrighty. I'm going to say it again for all the servo manufacturers out there. Give us hex heads instead of Phillips heads. I don't know why everybody seems to want to use Phillips heads. My guess is it's just a legacy thing because that's what servos have been using for years. But it's definitely not ideal. I always hate having to switch tool sets when I'm working on something. At least make it like a 1.5 hex or something like that versus a Phillips head. Not that a Phillips head's horrible, but come on. Everything else, every other bolt on this truck, literally everything is a hex. So Phillips heads are no good. All right, So we should be good now. So another thing you want to do after installing a new servo is always check your endpoints. So as an example, if I turn this all the way to one direction and turn my dual rate all the way up, you can see I get a lot more steering, right? Tons more steering. Problem is, if you're giving it throttle, I'll give it a little bit of throttle, and I'll turn it, you can see it start to, that's the dog bones in there, or the, the CVDs. They're not real CVDs, but the dog bones essentially. It's gonna be hard to see, maybe from this side. It's the dog bones hitting, right? They're hitting the C cups. You can see it start to, okay, that's because it's turning farther than the dog bone and the C cup can handle. So the best thing to do is to turn your dual rate down. Okay, and so we're going to turn our dual rate down, and this is a stock remote. This is your dual rate for steering. You can put it upside down. So we'll set it up so that we're not hitting anything, and then you can see we'll give it some throttle, and we'll turn it until it starts to bog down on the dog bones. And then you can turn your, actually, if you turn your dual rate all the way down, right? So you have like no steering. There's max steering. We'll just hold it there. You give it throttle. Then you can turn your dual rate up until it starts to act funny. All right, so now we're starting to hit. You can see the dog bone hitting on this side. You can see it kind of bouncing. That means we've hit our max turn. So we'll turn it down just a little bit. Okay, so you want to check both sides. So when you go this way, you can see it's still kind of bouncing a little. So we'll turn it down just a little bit more. And now we have our dual rate so that it's not going to break our dog bones or the little shaft that's in there. Now you can get more turn radius using actual CVDs and whatnot. So the servo clearly can turn it further than the truck wants it to go. So this is not a good turn radius on this thing, but you just want to make sure that your dual rate is also set up for your truck, because that's how you break things, and we don't want to break things. So we're good now. All right, we'll go ahead and do some mini crawler pull-ups to test the servo. Seems fine. She goes. Seems good. For 40 bucks, seems like a damn good servo. So we're excited to get out there and run it. We'll put a link in the description below to this servo on Amazon and the servo trays. If you're interested in this build, I'll put a link over here. You can check it out. We actually have a contest where we're giving away one of these chassis. It doesn't have the panels, but it's just the chassis. And yeah, once we hit 1,000 views on the video that this is on, then we'll give that away. Anyway, guys, have fun. Get out there, build something awesome. Smash them, crash them, and bash them, but don't break the expensive parts.